PNM family. Tell me, are you ready?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tobago is in the house, that's right. Allow me, brothers and sisters, to recognize in our presence and to thank the chairman of this evening's proceeding, our very own son of the soil, our opposition leader, our political leader, the next Prime Minister of this beloved nation of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. Brothers and sisters, allow me to recognize the Honorable. I can call her the Honorable even from right now because we're so sure about it. Lady in waiting, Mrs. Sharon Rowley. I recognize here in our presence the Deputy Political Leader, Mrs. Joan Yule Williams. Deputy Political Leader, Miss Marlene MacDonald. Lady Vice Chairman of this great party, Mrs. Camille Robinson Regis. And to you friends and supporters of the PNM family, and last but certainly not least, brothers and sisters of the national community, a pleasant good evening to you. Bournes Road, you're looking good. 5 years later, Bournes Road women, how are you feeling? When this woman, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, came into power as the first female prime minister, there was a feeling of euphoria. You said, give her a chance. She had her chance, and she ruined the potential for any woman to ever become prime minister in the near future. In 5 little years, brothers and sisters, we went from singing, "We Would Rise," to now today we're singing, "Bye-bye, Kamala, bye-bye." Because you expected leadership with compassion. You expected leadership with order and leadership with integrity. But the first thing she did was promoted Reshmi. You remember that junior employee of SIS, that infamous telephone operator? And after that, she went firing woman left, right, and center. Mary King, fired. Verna St. Rose, fired. Nan Ramgolam, fired. Christlyn Moore, fired. Nicole Dyer Griffith, fired. Therese Baptiste Cornelius, fired. And the list goes on and on and on. Because she has left a trail of destruction and hurt on this country. So on September 7th, brothers and sisters, the people will elect the People's National Movement into government and provide a strong and stable government for Trinidad and Tobago. And I could say that with conviction. I could say this because the PNM is a strong, resilient party with the capacity to recreate ourselves. History had demonstrated that this country thrives under the leadership of the People's National Movement. And our political leader, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, has demonstrated that he has the confidence and the tenacity to make the hard decisions and to provide the leadership that is necessary to rebuild our institution. Brothers and sisters of Bournes Road, there's an African proverb that I believe in. It says, "If I stand tall, it is because I stand on the backs of those who went before me." Tonight, my 13 sister candidates stand tall because we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. People's National Movement ladies have been blazing the trail of leadership in national development and politics from the very inception of this great party. You see, when Dr. Eric Williams created the People's National Movement, he built it sturdy, he built it strong, he built it to last. But as big and as strong as it was, he knew that he would run the risk of losing relevance and power if the women of the party were not made to play a critical role in this great development. Therefore, only 4 months later, on the 19th of May, the Women's League was formed. And since then, we, the women, have been the chief cooks and bottle washers of this party. If you've been around the People's National Movement long enough, you know the women run the engine room of the PNM. The absence of women on the forefront of the PNM means a spineless PNM, a toothless PNM, a powerless PNM. From administrative duties to public relations, the women run the engine room of the PNM. From canvassing to street mining, the women run the engine room of the PNM. From THA secretaries to members of parliament, the women run the engine room of the PNM. We are the voice. We influence the votes. We secure the victory for this great party. The women of the PNM are the backbone. Further, we are the life of our communities. We stay abreast of the issues. We keep our leaders grounded. Some say after God it's the police. In our communities, there is a culture that says after God it's the women of the PNM. The People's National Movement has always gone the extra mile to recognize and promote our youth and our women. Look at my sister candidates, brothers and sisters, women of compassion, women of conviction, women of courage, and women of class. We in the PNM embrace the fact that women bring a special set of innate qualities to the party, to their community, to the parliament, to cabinet, to government. Women in leadership bring sound judgment. Women in leadership bring fiscal prudence, decency, order, compassion, and intelligence. Further, women are expected to create the environment to protect our children. Women are expected to preserve good morals, ethics, principles, and traditions in our independent institutions. Women promote order and ensure the rule of law. Women lead by example. Women are expected to raise up a standard. Women are expected to keep the peace and to make the difficult decisions. Unfortunately, brothers and sisters, this has not been our experience under Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Poor example for a leader, much less this country's first woman prime minister. 5 years later, under her reckless leadership, spite and malmanagement, this country cannot stand another day under this wicked, callous UNC government. 5 years, 35 ministers, $400 billion later, nothing to show but rampant instability and incessant squandermania. Poor governance plagued every nook and cranny of this country. Despotism has replaced the sacred tenets of democracy. Corruption has been intrinsically integrated in all our systems. We've lost confidence in our independent institution. This United National Congress administration has been the greatest drag on the advancement of this nation. We have suffered way too much. We have suffered far too long. Brothers and sisters of Bournes Road, Trinidad and Tobago is crying out for restoration. Trinidad and Tobago is crying out for transformation. Trinidad and Tobago is desperate and they need a solution. That solution is the People's National Movement, the only bastion of hope, the only light at the end of the tunnel. The PNM has always had a history of standing up in the gap for the people of this country. We make the hard decisions, we make the sacrifices, and we are well prepared to get the job done. We offer ourselves, brothers and sisters, not because it is our turn or our birthright, but because we have done our homework and we are now ready to take action. While in opposition, we prepared ourselves for government. We've examined the issues and have come up with workable solutions. We've consulted with the stakeholders. We have learned from the government's mistakes and we have learned from our own mistakes too. So we stand, brothers and sisters, ready to rebuild this country because decent people deserve dignified leaders. Good communities deserve good representation. Right-thinking citizens deserve dignity and decency. A great country deserves a great party. Brothers and sisters, what better party at this time to lead us than the People's National Movement? If this country ever needed an organized, experienced, disciplined party, that time is now. If this country ever needed a leader of integrity, that time is now. If this country ever needed the People's National Movement, that time is now. If this country ever needed Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, that time is now. If Tobago ever needed an Ayanna Webster Roy in the east, that time is now. If Tobago ever needed a Shamfa Ashaki Kojo in the west, that time is now. Now, brothers and sisters, it is interesting that in Tobago I hear opponents talking about they're too young to go to Parliament. They're too little. Parliament is not a place for little children. But as I sat among the fellow candidates here today, my head swelled when you listen to their accomplishments and their qualifications and all that they have achieved. And I say thanks to People's National Movement policy. So they call us little school boys and these little school girls, but that is one name that I wear as a badge of honor. Because if it weren't for the People's National Movement policy of GATE and social programs, we wouldn't be here today boasting of these qualifications. Because PNM policy changed lives. PNM policy improved our family. PNM policy enhanced our communities. So brothers and sisters, we stand here proud as PNM schoolgirls because it is the PNM that has educated us. This is a PNM story. From socks to stockings, a PNM story. From backpack to handbag, a PNM story, brothers and sisters. From plain white shoes to high heel boot, this is a PNM story. Brothers and sisters, you see they wasted their time, they had their chance and they blew it. 5 long years they sat there playing caddy and handmaiden for Kamala. Brothers and sisters, they spend their time in government, they wasted their time feeding out of the trough of the UNC and eating little peanuts out of Kamala hand. They wasted their time and have the audacity to ask us for 5 more years. Well, let it be known, brothers and sisters, that we have done the performance appraisals and we say no commendation and no approvals because 5 long years they have been sleeping on the job. 5 long years they've been eating a food on the job. 5 long years some of them been shopping on the job. 5 long years half of them been drinking on the job. 5 long years some of them smoking on the job. And in 5 days, brothers and sisters, they're gonna be out of a job. Because Bournes Road, ears haven't heard and eyes haven't seen the kinds of atrocities that we have endured under this wicked UNC. 5 long years we suffered. 5 long years we prayed. Brothers and sisters, and in 5 little days we would have our say. 5 long years we've been under the attack, but brothers and sisters, in 5 little days we would stage the great fight back. Brothers and sisters, when what was once obscene has now become the norm, PNM woman, it's time to fight back. When your independent organizations are forced to abdicate their responsibilities and turn a blind eye and go silent, PNM woman, it's time to fight back. When child rights champions and women activists have lost their voices and whistleblowers can't seem to find their whistles, PNM woman, it's time to fight back. When a government lies in your face and then tells you that you misunderstand, PNM woman, it's time to fight back. When cabinet ministers are fired for allegations of witness tampering and obstructing the course of justice, but show up on the same night, fetting with the same prime minister that fired them, PNM woman, it's time to fight back. When cabinet ministers get fired for poor performance and mismanagement and rehired the next week to be advisors to the same ministers and ministries that they would have mismanaged, PNM people, it's time to fight back. When CPEP workers must report to political party meetings for pay and job security, PNM people, it's time to fight back. For 5 long years we have been under attack. In 5 little days, watch us stage the fight back. Tell your brother, tell your neighbor, tell your friend that this time we're rolling with the PNM. This time we're standing in defense of our families This time we are standing in defense of our communities. This time we are standing in defense of our democracy. And this time we are taking back our country. One seat at a time, every constituency matter. One index finger at a time, every vote counts. They lose their deposits in the east. They lose their deposits in the west. They lose their deposits in San Fernando, and you know they're sure to lose their deposits in Tobago. Because brothers and sisters in Tobago, we sat quietly and we observed them from day one. And we started our fight back since the 2013 THA election. Then came local government and St. Joseph, and you kept the momentum. Now Trinidad, we are calling on you to join Tobago. Let's finish strong. 5 more days, we read and we're ready. 41 strong candidates, we read and we're ready. Join us on this journey. We read and we're ready. Taking back our country, we read and we're ready. Out and bad, we read and we're ready. Show them no mercy, we read and we're ready. Show them no remorse, we read and we're ready. Attack them with full force, we read and we're ready. Brothers and sisters, and on September 7th, when all is said and done, we have placed our votes and victory is won. We'll come back here or we'll meet in Woodford Square where we loudly sing our song. Great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail. And thank you.
PNM family, tell me, are you ready?